The alien capital floated silently in the velvet darkness of space, its towering spires glinting under the light of distant stars. From her throne atop the highest spire, Queen Alara observed the sprawling city below, a world built by her people over countless generations. She was known across the galaxy for her wisdom and strength, a leader who guided her civilization through both war and peace. Yet even the greatest of rulers could not prepare for fear that came from the heart. Her heart was heavy tonight, not from war or politics, but from worry. Her only child, Prince Lyran, had disappeared. It had happened during a routine exploration mission. The young prince, curious and adventurous, had requested to visit the outer systems of their Empire's star cluster. His tutors and guards had hesitated, reminding him of the dangers, but Lyran's determination had been unyielding. With careful planning, the Queen had allowed it, trusting in the skill of her crew and the strength of her son. And now, he was gone. Reports had come in over the last few hours. His exploration ship vanished near the borders of the uncharted sector. Scans revealed only interference from an unknown anomaly, a distortion that defied the Empire's most advanced sensors. The Queen's advisors suggested sending a fleet to search, but the anomaly had swallowed the signal, leaving only darkness. Alara's hands tightened on the armrests of her throne. "How can this be?" she whispered. Her voice trembled slightly, though she did her best to mask it. "He is my child. He should be safe." Her chief counselor, a tall being with luminous skin and silver eyes, bowed. "Your Majesty, our scans are thorough. There is no trace of the prince. Yet we have never encountered such interference." Perhaps what?" Alara snapped. Her eyes, sharp and commanding, met his. "Do not offer me half measures. I need solutions." The counselor hesitated, then spoke carefully. "We might request assistance from the human envoy. Their methods are unusual, but they are clever in ways we do not always understand." Alara's gaze fell upon the human stationed in her palace, a young man named Ethan. He stood near the entrance, his posture calm but alert, observing the proceedings. Humans were rare in the Empire, newcomers who had only recently begun diplomatic relations. They were physically weaker than most alien species, yet they possessed a resilience and ingenuity that fascinated many. "And you think a human can find my son?" she asked, her voice almost quiet, tinged with desperation. Ethan stepped forward. "I won't make promises I can't keep, Your Majesty," he said. "But humans, we notice patterns where others see chaos. Sometimes the impossible can be solved if you look at it from a different angle." The Queen studied him. His confidence was quiet, not arrogant, and there was a determination in his eyes that reminded her of her own son. Perhaps she thought this human could see what her people could not. "Very well," she said. "I will give you access to all our resources. Find him, Ethan. Bring my son back." He inclined his head. "I will do everything I can." The first step, Ethan knew, was to study the anomaly. The alien fleet's sensors had been thorough, but they had been limited by strict protocols. Humans often approach problems differently. Ethan began by examining raw data from multiple sources: star maps, energy readings, and unusual gravitational distortions. As he worked, patterns began to emerge. It was subtle at first, a faint pulse in the energy readings that matched the prince's ship signature, slightly shifted. A human might call it intuition, but Ethan called it observation. He realized the anomaly was not just a blind spot in their sensors. It was a living phenomenon, shifting and unpredictable. "This isn't just space debris," he murmured to himself. "Something alive, or something hiding." Meanwhile, Queen Alara paced in her private chambers. The palace was quiet, the soft hum of distant engines the only sound. Her advisors had returned to their stations, leaving her alone with her worry. She thought of Lyran as a child, his small hands reaching for hers, his laughter echoing through the palace halls. The memory was bittersweet now. She knew fear was dangerous for a ruler. It could cloud judgment, lead to rash decisions. Yet she could not stop the worry gnawing at her chest. Every passing hour increased the distance between her and her child. Ethan returned to the Queen with a report. "Your Majesty," he said, bowing slightly, "I believe I know where the prince is. The anomaly. It moves, but it follows a pattern. He is likely trapped on a planet near the edge of the uncharted sector. Dangerous terrain, but not insurmountable." The Queen's heart leapt. "How certain are you?" "Certain enough to act," Ethan replied. His calm confidence reassured her in a way few could. If we move quickly, we can reach him before the situation worsens. Then we shall not waste a moment, Elara declared. Prepare a ship. I will go with you. No, Your Majesty, Ethan said firmly. The ship is too small for your protection. Allow me to go. I will bring him back. The Queen hesitated, pride and fear warring within her. Finally she nodded. Very well. You have my trust. Do not fail me, human. Ethan left immediately, gathering a small crew and the equipment needed to navigate the anomaly. The journey was dangerous. The rogue sector was full of unpredictable gravitational waves, sudden storms, and strange magnetic fields. But humans thrived on challenges that seemed impossible. Ethan's mind raced with strategies, backup plans, and contingencies. As the ship approached the edge of the anomaly, Ethan noticed something extraordinary. The energy readings fluctuated rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. It's alive, he whispered. Something is controlling this. The alien sensors could detect nothing but chaos. But Ethan, with human intuition, could see patterns. He adjusted the ship's course, following the pulse carefully. Hours passed. The stars outside the viewport stretched and shifted as the ship moved through turbulence and invisible currents. And then, a faint signal. Lyran's ship. Damaged but intact. The young prince was alive. Relief washed over Ethan, but there was no time to celebrate. He needed a plan to reach the surface of the rogue planet safely. Meanwhile, back in the capital, Queen Elara waited. She stared out at the stars, her mind torn between hope and fear. For the first time, she felt powerless, a sensation she had rarely known. Yet somewhere deep inside, a small spark of hope flickered. Perhaps the human could succeed where the Empire had failed. The first part of the rescue had begun, and with it, a story that would prove the strength of human ingenuity and courage. The Queen could only watch, waiting, hoping, and trusting a species she had never fully understood. The galaxy was vast, the dangers many. But if one human could find a lost prince where the Empire could not, then perhaps humans were more remarkable than even the aliens had imagined. Ethan's small ship cut through the dark expanse of space, gliding toward the rogue planet at the edge of the uncharted sector. Outside the viewport, stars shimmered like scattered diamonds, but the surface of the planet below was a chaotic swirl of swirling storms and jagged mountains. The energy readings indicated that the planet's gravity and magnetic fields were unstable, creating waves of distortion that could easily pull a careless ship into the atmosphere. He glanced at the instruments, then at his crew, 3 skilled human technicians he had recruited for the mission. Each of them wore expressions of quiet focus. They had been trained for challenging missions, but nothing in their experience matched the unpredictability of this place. All right, Ethan said, voice steady. We need to land near the energy pulse. It's the only way we'll find the prince. Keep the shields up and remember, every calculation matters here. The ship rocked as they entered the planet's upper atmosphere. Winds howled outside, tearing at the hull, and lightning flashed across the dark clouds. Ethan's hands moved across the controls with calm precision, adjusting thrusters and compensating for sudden gravitational shifts. Despite the chaos, he maintained control. Humans had a way of thinking differently, he reminded himself, seeing patterns others might miss. Approaching the target zone, one of the technicians called, signal strength increasing. Life signs confirmed, one individual. Weak but alive. Ethan allowed himself a brief moment of relief. Lyran was alive. That was all that mattered. He didn't know yet what the prince had endured, but he would bring him home. The surface of the planet was unlike anything the alien empire had seen. The land was jagged, covered with towering rock formations that glowed faintly under the stormy sky. Rivers of molten metal ran like lava, carving unpredictable paths across the surface. Strange, luminous plants swayed in the wind as if alive, and occasional bursts of energy erupted from the ground without warning. The rogue planet was alive in a way that was almost magical, dangerous yet mesmerizing. Looks like our theories were right, Ethan muttered. The anomaly isn't just interference, it's part of the planet. It reacts to movement, like a living sensor. He instructed the ship to hover near a plateau where the energy readings were strongest. From there they could plan a safe approach to the prince. Yet even from the hovering ship, the terrain was treacherous. One wrong step, and the ground could give way or the molten rivers could erupt. Ethan stepped into the planet's gravity field first, using a personal grav pack to move swiftly across the jagged terrain. The humans followed carefully. Alien creatures, strange and unfamiliar, observed from a distance, curious but not immediately hostile. The humans moved cautiously, understanding that danger lurked everywhere. Lyran's signal is getting stronger, Ethan said, checking his handheld device. He's trapped in a cave system nearby. Looks like a collapse blocked the entrance. We'll need to find another way in. The cave entrance was jagged and narrow, almost invisible among the massive rock formations. Ethan examined it closely, noticing subtle cracks and pressure points in the surrounding rocks. Humans were good at improvising with limited resources, he thought. Where the aliens relied on technology, he relied on observation and intuition. He directed his team to use compact drilling tools to create a safe passage. Slowly, methodically, they began to widen the entrance without triggering a collapse. Sweat dripped from Ethan's brow as he worked, but he remained calm, focusing on the problem. Finally, a small opening appeared, just enough for a human to squeeze through. Ethan went first, leading the way into the darkness. The cave was cold and damp, and the walls pulsed faintly with the planet's energy. Every step was measured. One misstep could bring the rocks crashing down, then they heard it. A faint sound, a soft cry, "Lyran, over here." Ethan called, voice echoing slightly. The prince's weak response guided them deeper into the cave system. There, amidst fallen rocks and debris, was Lyran. His armor was damaged, and he had minor injuries, but he was conscious. His wide, fearful eyes met Ethan's. Who are you?" Lyran whispered. His voice trembled. "I'm here to bring you home," Ethan said gently. "You're safe now. But we need to move quickly." Lyran's eyes widened with hope and relief. "The Queen? My mother. She's waiting for you," Ethan assured him. "But we have to get out first." The challenge was immense. The path back was blocked, and the cave walls were unstable. Ethan quickly scanned the area, noting loose rocks, pressure points, and weak sections. He devised a plan using his team's equipment: cables, portable supports, and controlled bursts from their grav packs. It was risky, but it was the only way. "Humans are clever," Lyran murmured as he watched Ethan at work. "You see things differently. Even in the dark." Ethan smiled faintly. Sometimes thinking differently is the only way to survive. The next hour was tense. Rocks shifted, molten streams glowed dangerously close, and the planet's energy pulsed unpredictably. Ethan directed the team with precision, adjusting their plan as new obstacles appeared. When a rockfall blocked their path, he quickly rerouted the cables and created a temporary bridge using the grav packs. Every move required coordination and courage. Finally, they reached an exit, a narrow slope leading to a plateau above. But the planet wasn't done testing them. A surge of energy erupted from the ground, sending tremors through the surface. Ethan shouted commands, and the team moved with perfect timing, balancing on rocks and jumping across molten streams. Lyran stumbled once, but Ethan caught him, steadying the young prince. They reached the plateau, panting but safe. The rogue planet's storms raged around them, but they had survived. Ethan looked at Lyran. "You're going to be okay," he said. "One more step and we're off this planet." Using the grav packs, they ascended the final slope to where the ship awaited. Ethan helped Lyran aboard, ensuring he was secure and stable. The young prince's eyes shone with gratitude and awe. He had faced fear, isolation, and uncertainty, but humans had shown him courage and ingenuity he had never imagined. As the ship lifted off, the rogue planet shrinking below them, Ethan allowed himself a moment to relax. The mission was far from over. They still had to navigate back through the anomaly, but for now, the most dangerous part was behind them. Lyran leaned against the ship's wall, exhausted but smiling faintly. "I thought I would be lost forever," he admitted. "But you found me," Ethan nodded. "Sometimes being lost doesn't mean the end. It just means someone has to think differently to bring you back." In the Queen's palace, a monitor displayed the energy signals from the rogue planet. Queen Alara watched, her heart catching as the readings confirmed the rescue. She whispered a prayer of relief, her hope rekindled. The human had done what even her empire's best could not. Ethan adjusted the ship's course, plotting a path back to the alien capital. The journey would be perilous, navigating through the anomaly that had hidden the prince in the first place. But he had proven humans could solve problems in ways the aliens could not anticipate. And for the first time, the Queen began to understand what humans could offer. Not just courage, but creativity, adaptability. and the ability to see the impossible and make it possible. The rogue planet faded into the distance. Storm still raging, but the young prince was safe. Ethan had brought him back from the edge of danger through careful observation, bold thinking, and unwavering determination. The adventure had only begun, and the galaxy would soon witness the extraordinary ways humans could rise to challenges that seemed insurmountable. The rogue planet disappeared behind them, swallowed by the darkness of space, yet Ethan knew the mission was far from over. The anomaly that had hidden Prince Lyran in the first place still stretched ahead, a massive, unpredictable field of energy that disrupted sensors and distorted navigation. Even the most advanced alien technology struggled to pierce its veil. Humans, however, could rely not just on technology, but on ingenuity and adaptability, and that was what Ethan planned to do. Lyran sat in the cabin, quietly observing the crew. His small hands fiddled with a strap on his harness, and his young face was pale but determined. He had seen the rogue planet's dangers, and the experience had left him wary. Yet there was a glimmer of admiration in his eyes as he watched Ethan. "Humans, you're different," Lyran said softly, breaking the silence. "You don't follow the rules the way we do, but somehow it works." Ethan smiled faintly. "Sometimes rules can help, but they can also blind you to solutions. Out here, flexibility is survival." The ship entered the edge of the anomaly. Outside, the stars stretched and twisted as if reflected in rippling water. Gravity waves surged unpredictably, tossing the ship like a toy. Lightning-like energy bursts flickered across the dark void, threatening to disable the engines. Ethan gripped the controls, his eyes scanning multiple readouts at once. The alien sensors showed nothing, but he could feel the patterns. Humans had a way of sensing order within chaos. Thrusters at 50%. "Compensate for magnetic drift," he commanded. The crew responded with precision, their trust in his judgment absolute. Suddenly, the ship lurched violently. A surge of energy hit the hull, throwing Lyran against a wall. He cried out in alarm, but Ethan and the crew reacted instantly. Ethan activated emergency stabilizers and rerouted power to the thrusters. The ship steadied, but only barely. "This isn't a normal anomaly," Ethan muttered. "It reacts to us. It's alive in a way, but not fully conscious. Almost like a puzzle we have to solve." Lyran looked at him wide-eyed. "A puzzle? You mean it's trying to trap us?" Ethan shook his head. "Not trap. Test. Obstacles. We just need to understand its rules." Hours passed as the ship moved deeper into the anomaly. Ethan studied the subtle fluctuations in energy, noticing patterns in the bursts almost like a rhythm. He adjusted the ship's course in small increments, avoiding the worst of the waves. It was slow, methodical work. Each adjustment had to be precise. A single miscalculation could mean disaster. Then came the first real test. A massive surge of energy erupted ahead, forming a swirling barrier of light and distortion that blocked the path. Alien pilots might have retreated, relying solely on shields or brute force, but Ethan saw an opportunity. "Listen carefully," he said to the crew. "We need to time our passage with the surge pattern. Watch the rhythm, it repeats in cycles. When the energy pulse diminishes, we move." Lyran's eyes followed the readouts, trying to understand. "Cycles, you can see them?" Ethan nodded. "Humans have a way of noticing small patterns, even when others miss them. Trust the rhythm." The surge pulsed, a violent wave of energy that threatened to tear the ship apart. Ethan counted, calculating the exact moment to accelerate. When the pulse subsided, the ship shot forward, slipping through the barrier with only inches to spare. Lyran gasped, gripping the seat. "You did it!" he exclaimed, awe and relief in his voice. Ethan allowed himself a faint smile. "Not me. Observation and timing. That's how humans survive in impossible situations." The anomaly continued to test them. Magnetic storms twisted their trajectory. Gravitational eddies pulled unpredictably, and bursts of energy threatened to fry their systems. Each challenge required quick thinking and adaptation. Ethan modified the ship's shields, rerouted power in real time, and used unconventional maneuvers that the aliens would have considered reckless, but they worked. At one point, a massive energy vortex appeared, spinning like a whirlpool in space. The ship's thrusters struggled to hold position. Alien pilots might have tried to brute force through or wait for the vortex to subside, but Ethan had another plan. "Use the gravity vector to slingshot around it," he instructed. "It's risky, but the path is clear if we calculate the angle perfectly." The crew held their breath as Ethan executed the maneuver. The ship twisted and turned, engines roaring as they looped around the vortex. Energy waves buffeted the hull, but the calculations were exact. They emerged on the other side, shaken but intact. Lyran stared at the swirling energy behind them. "You're incredible," he whispered. "I've never seen anyone do that before." Ethan shook his head. "Not incredible. Observant, careful, and willing to try new approaches. That's what humans do." As they moved closer to the edge of the anomaly, a final obstacle emerged, a collapsing energy field that shifted rapidly, threatening to trap them forever. The crew panicked for a moment, but Ethan's calm voice cut through. "Listen to me," he said firmly. "We go now. Trust the timing, trust the angles. Follow my lead." The ship surged forward. Instruments flashed wildly, alarms blared, but Ethan's calculations held. They twisted, dodged, and slipped through the collapsing field. One final jolt shook the ship, and then the anomaly was behind them. Silence filled the cabin. The stars outside were steady again, the warp of the anomaly gone. Lyran slumped in his seat, exhausted but smiling faintly. "You did it," he said, voice full of wonder. "You got us through," Ethan nodded. "Humans can solve problems that seem impossible, especially when we think differently. That's why we're here. That's why I could find you." Lyran's eyes shone. I never imagined anyone could do that," Ethan smiled faintly. "Sometimes the impossible is just a puzzle waiting for the right mind." The ship continued toward the alien capital, Lyran resting and recovering from his ordeal. Ethan monitored every reading, ensuring the course remained safe. The rogue planet was now behind them, the anomaly a fading threat, but the journey was not yet complete. Back in the Queen's palace, Queen Alara paced her chambers. Hours had passed, but the energy readings confirmed the prince was moving, safe and alive. Her advisors watched in awe as the human strategy unfolded. Even the wisest among them admitted they could not have done what he had accomplished. Finally, a live feed showed Ethan's ship emerging from the anomaly. The Queen's heart leapt. "He made it," she whispered, relief flooding through her. He truly made it. The human had proven himself not only resourceful but capable of feats even the Empire's best could not achieve. The Queen realized that humans brought something unique to the galaxy: intuition, courage, and a way of seeing solutions where others saw only obstacles. Inside the ship, Ethan adjusted the course for the final leg of the journey. The alien capital loomed ahead, glowing in the starlight, awaiting the safe return of its prince. Lyran had survived because a human thought differently, trusted observation over routine, and acted decisively in the face of danger. And as the ship moved closer to home, Ethan knew that this mission was only the beginning. Humans had a place in this galaxy not because they were strongest or most advanced, but because they could adapt, create, and overcome when everything else failed. Lyran looked at Ethan, his eyes full of gratitude and wonder. You saved me," he said quietly. Ethan shook his head. "We saved each other," he replied. "You trusted me. That's as important as anything else." The alien capital grew larger in the viewport, the lights shining like a promise of safety and reunion. Ethan prepared the ship for landing, careful to navigate the final approach with precision. The crew worked in unison, following the plan that had kept them alive through chaos and danger. Queen Alara watched the approach, her hands folded tightly. Hope, relief, and admiration swirled within her. Humans were extraordinary, she realized. They were not perfect, but their strength came from something deeper: ingenuity, courage, and the ability to see the impossible and make it real. The ship touched down safely, and the hatch opened. Ethan stepped aside as Lyran ran into the Queen's arms. The reunion was quiet, yet filled with emotion. Tears glimmered in Alara's eyes, but it was a proud, grateful kind of joy. "You brought him back," she whispered to Ethan. "I cannot thank you enough." Ethan nodded humbly. "I only did what humans do best. We try, we adapt, and we persevere." The Queen's gaze softened. "Then perhaps humans have a place among us after all. Not as conquerors, but as allies, as friends, as heroes." And so, the first step toward a new understanding began, forged in danger, courage, and the extraordinary ingenuity of a single human who dared to face the impossible. The alien capital glowed like a jewel in the darkness of space, its towering spires reflecting the light of countless stars. For Prince Lyran, it had never looked so welcoming. The young prince leaned against the rail of Ethan's ship, his small hands gripping the metal tightly. His heart pounded with anticipation and relief. After days of danger and uncertainty, home was finally in sight. Ethan monitored the ship's instruments, keeping a steady hand on the controls. The journey back through normal space was smooth compared to the chaos of the anomaly, yet he remained cautious. Humans had learned long ago that even small errors could lead to disaster. Lyran looked at him with quiet admiration. "I never imagined anyone could do what you did. You didn't just find me. You brought me back through something no one else could." Ethan shook his head. "I didn't do it alone. I observed, adapted, and acted. That's what humans do, and you trusted me when you had no choice. That helped more than you know." The prince smiled faintly, though the memory of the rogue planet's dangers lingered in his mind. "I saw the storms, the energy. I thought I would never leave that place. But you never gave up. You kept thinking, kept moving. It was amazing." As the ship approached the capital, a welcoming party of the Queen's guards and advisors prepared to receive them. The palace's energy shields glowed, opening wide to allow safe passage. Queen Alara stood at the main landing platform, her expression a mixture of anxiety and hope. Her gaze never left the viewport as Ethan guided the ship safely down. When the hatch opened, Lyran rushed forward, his small legs carrying him across the platform. The Queen stepped forward, her arms outstretched. Tears glimmered in her eyes as she embraced her son. "My child, my brave Lyran," she whispered, holding him tightly. "I feared I had lost you forever." "I'm here now," Lyran replied, voice trembling. "Because of him." He pointed to Ethan. "He saved me." The Queen turned her gaze toward Ethan, and for the first time she studied the human fully. His appearance was simple compared to her people's elaborate forms. Yet in his eyes she saw courage, intelligence, and determination, qualities that her empire's most advanced technology could not measure. "You," she began, voice soft but commanding. "You have done what none of my empire could achieve. You have brought my child home. Tell me, how did you do it?" Ethan stepped forward, bowing respectfully. "Your Majesty, it wasn't magic or technology alone. It was observation, planning, and adaptation. Humans see patterns where others see chaos. We think differently, and sometimes that makes all the difference." The Queen studied him closely, her mind racing. For centuries, her people had relied on precision, logic, and advanced technology. Yet here was a human, weaker in strength, less advanced in tools, but capable of achieving what had seemed impossible. She felt a spark of realization. Humans were extraordinary in ways that transcended technology or raw power. "You speak wisely," she said slowly. "Perhaps we have underestimated your species. You possess qualities our empire lacks: creativity, courage, and resilience in the face of the unknown." Ethan smiled faintly. "We learn by trying and by failing and by adapting. That's how humans survive." Lyran looked between the Queen and Ethan, his young mind absorbing the moment. "Humans, they are different," he whispered. "They don't follow the rules the way we do, but they find solutions. They think in ways we never imagined." The Queen nodded, her eyes filled with pride and respect. "Then perhaps it is time to rethink our alliances. Humans are not just visitors, they are partners, capable of inspiring hope and achieving the impossible." In the palace, the counselors whispered among themselves. Many were skeptical, bound by centuries of tradition and protocol. Yet even they could not deny the truth. A human had done what their empire, with all its power and technology, had failed to accomplish. They had brought back the heir, alive and unharmed. Ethan escorted Lyran to the royal infirmary, where the young prince received care for his minor injuries. Despite exhaustion, Lyran's eyes sparkled with curiosity and admiration. Everything was different out there," he said softly. "The planet, the anomaly. I thought I would never leave, but you solved it." Ethan knelt beside him. "You survived because you stayed calm, observed carefully, and followed instructions. Courage is not just about fighting, it's about thinking, adapting, and trusting others." Lyran smiled faintly. "I want to be brave like that," he whispered. "Like you." "You already are," Ethan said. "Being brave doesn't mean you are fearless. It means you keep moving forward, even when things seem impossible." Back in the throne room, Queen Alara addressed her advisors. "This human has shown us the value of qualities we cannot measure. Observation, intuition, adaptability. These are as powerful as any weapon or technology." A senior advisor, still cautious, spoke carefully. Your Majesty, humans are different.
Can we rely on them in the long term?
The Queen's gaze was firm. Perhaps we should not think in terms of control or reliance. Perhaps we should think in terms of partnership. Humans are remarkable not because they dominate, but because they inspire, adapt, and achieve the impossible. That is worth respecting. Word of Ethan's success spread throughout the Empire. He was hailed as a hero, not for conquering, but for saving a life using clever thinking, courage, and determination. Everywhere he went, aliens marveled at the human who had accomplished the impossible, and respect replaced skepticism. Lyran recovered quickly, his youthful energy returning. Yet he often spoke of Ethan's ingenuity and courage, telling palace guards and fellow students about how humans could solve problems in ways aliens could not. His admiration was genuine, a reflection of the deep impact the human had made on him. One evening, the Queen invited Ethan to a private audience. The palace balcony overlooked the vast city, lights shimmering like stars below. Alara's expression was thoughtful. "You have changed my perspective, Ethan," she said softly. "Humans are not just visitors to this galaxy. They are capable, adaptable, and brave. They can achieve things our empire never could. I wish to understand them more, and perhaps work together to explore new possibilities." Ethan nodded. "Humans are capable of great things, Your Majesty. But it is when we work together, respecting differences, that the impossible becomes possible." The Queen studied him, her mind envisioning a future she had not imagined. The galaxy was vast and full of danger, yet humans had shown that courage, ingenuity, and adaptability could overcome even the most impossible challenges. "You have my gratitude," she said, "and my trust, not as a subject but as an equal, who has proven their worth through action, wisdom, and courage." Ethan bowed. "I will continue to serve, Your Majesty. Not out of duty alone, but because humans strive to do what is right even when it is difficult." The Queen's eyes softened. "Then let this be a new beginning for our people and yours. Together we can face challenges the galaxy has never seen, and achieve greatness beyond imagination." Lyran watched from nearby, inspired and amazed. "Humans, they think differently," he said to himself. "They are brave in ways I never knew existed. I want to learn from them to grow as they do." That night, the alien capital shone brighter than ever, a symbol of hope, resilience, and the potential of partnership between species. Humans had proven themselves not by force but by courage, ingenuity, and the ability to see the impossible and make it real. And for Queen Alara, the realization was clear. Humans were extraordinary not because they were stronger or faster, but because they could solve problems that seemed unsolvable, inspire hope where there was fear, and act with courage and creativity in the face of danger. The galaxy was changing, and humans would play a vital role in its future. The alien capital glimmered under the soft light of a distant sun, peaceful and serene. For Queen Alara, the events of the past days had been a revelation. Her only child, Prince Lyran, had been lost and then found, not through the might of her empire, but through the courage, ingenuity, and determination of a human. Ethan stood quietly in the palace courtyard, watching the city bustle around him. Alien citizens moved with grace and precision, their lives governed by routines honed over centuries. Yet amidst their order, humans brought a spark, adaptability, unpredictability, and creativity that made even the most advanced civilization pause in admiration. Lyran ran toward him, laughter echoing across the plaza. His injuries had healed quickly, and the experience on the rogue planet had left him stronger and more confident. "Ethan, come with me. I want to show you something." Ethan smiled faintly and followed. The prince led him through the palace gardens where strange luminescent plants grew among carefully tended pathways. Here Lyran had spent many happy hours as a child. Now he ran with the energy of someone who had faced danger and returned. "You see these gardens?" Lyran asked. "I never noticed all the small patterns before. The way the plants grow, the way the streams flow, it's kind of like you're thinking." Observing, noticing, adapting, Ethan nodded. "Exactly. Observation and patience can solve problems that seem impossible. You've learned it yourself by surviving out there." Lyran beamed. "I want to learn more. I want to be brave like you and clever like you and helpful." The young prince's words made Ethan feel a quiet pride. Humans often thrive not through power, but by inspiring others to see differently, to act differently, and to achieve what seemed impossible. Meanwhile, Inside the throne room, Queen Alara held an assembly with her council. Ethan was present, standing humbly yet confidently among the most influential beings in the Empire. She addressed them with authority, yet her tone carried admiration and hope. "Let this event remind us," she said, "that strength is not only measured by technology or force. Sometimes it is measured by courage, creativity, and the willingness to act when others cannot. Humans have shown us qualities that even our most advanced systems cannot replicate." The counselors whispered among themselves. Some were hesitant, bound by tradition, but even they could not deny the truth. A human had saved the heir to the throne, navigated through a living anomaly, and returned unharmed. This was proof that humans possessed remarkable abilities. Alara continued, "We must embrace this, not merely as a diplomatic gesture, but as a recognition that the galaxy is vast and challenges await us that require ingenuity beyond our understanding. Humans can be our allies, our partners, and our teachers." Ethan stepped forward. "Your Majesty, humans do not seek glory for themselves. We act because we must, because it is right, and because solutions often require creative thinking. We are willing to share knowledge, to learn, and to work together." The Queen studied him closely. "Then let it be so. You will remain as a special envoy, not merely as a visitor, but as a bridge between our peoples. You have proven yourself worthy, and in doing so, you have opened a new path for cooperation." Lyran watched this exchange with wide eyes, inspired by the respect shown toward Ethan. "I never thought humans could be so important," he murmured to himself. "They think differently, act boldly, and solve problems when everyone else hesitates. I want to be like them." Days passed, and the human presence in the Empire grew. Ethan worked alongside scientists, explorers, and strategists, helping them understand the ways humans approached problems. He demonstrated how observation, improvisation, and adaptability could solve challenges that even advanced technology struggled with. One day, the Queen took Ethan aside to discuss a new initiative. "The galaxy is full of mysteries, dangers, and opportunities," she said. "I want humans and aliens to explore together, to learn from one another, and to face challenges as partners. Will you help us establish this program?" Ethan smiled. "Absolutely, Your Majesty. Humans learn best when they are part of a team, and we have much to offer each other. Together we can achieve what neither species could do alone." Lyran often joined these meetings, his young mind absorbing everything he could. He watched Ethan interact with alien engineers, adapting quickly to unfamiliar technology and cultures. He watched Ethan solve problems using clever strategies rather than force, and he realized something profound. Humans were extraordinary because they could adapt and inspire, not because they were the strongest. Months passed, and the new alliance between humans and the alien empire began to flourish. Joint expeditions ventured into uncharted sectors, solving problems, discovering new worlds, and averting natural disasters. Humans provided innovative solutions, while the aliens contributed advanced technology and wisdom. Together they accomplished feats that neither could have achieved alone. In one particularly challenging mission, a distant star system was at risk of collapse due to a gravitational anomaly. Alien calculations alone could not prevent the disaster. Ethan proposed a daring solution, redirecting energy fields using a combination of alien technology and human improvisation. The plan worked flawlessly, saving the system and earning the gratitude of countless worlds. Queen Alara watched these successes with quiet pride. She had doubted humans at first, but they had proven themselves not by dominance but by courage, intelligence, and adaptability. The galaxy had changed, and humans had become an indispensable part of its future. One evening, the Queen stood on her palace balcony, looking out at the city below. Lights shimmered like stars, reflecting in the water of the palace gardens. Ethan approached, standing respectfully beside her. "You've changed my perspective," she said softly. "Humans are not just capable, they are extraordinary. They bring hope, creativity, and courage where we often see only challenges." Ethan nodded. "Humans have always adapted to survive, to help, and to grow. We don't always do things the expected way, but that's how progress happens. And when humans and aliens work together, nothing is impossible." Lyran ran up to them, holding a small device he had been working on with Ethan. "Look," he exclaimed. "We built something together. It combines human thinking and alien technology. We solved a problem faster than anyone thought possible." The Queen smiled, watching her son's enthusiasm. She realized that this was the true value of humans. Not just their courage, not just their ingenuity, but their ability to inspire others to think differently, act boldly, and achieve together. Ethan knelt beside Lyran. You see, the galaxy is full of puzzles. Some are dangerous, some are complex, but if you approach them with creativity and courage, solutions appear. And you will grow to do amazing things, Lyran beamed. I want to keep learning. I want to help humans and aliens work together. The Queen placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. You have not only saved my son, but you have changed the course of our civilization. Humans are more than visitors. They are partners, teachers, and heroes. We are fortunate to have you here. Ethan bowed respectfully.
It is an honor to serve your majesty.
And to learn alongside your people. As the night fell over the alien capital, stars reflected in the waters of the palace gardens. Humans and aliens walked side by side, planning new missions, discovering new worlds and forging bonds that would endure for generations. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of wonders, but together they could face anything. And in the quiet of her chambers, Queen Alara reflected on the journey that had begun with fear and uncertainty. She had feared losing her child forever, but through courage, ingenuity, and trust, a human had not only returned her son safely but had shown her the boundless potential of humanity. The rogue planet, the anomaly, the dangers, they were behind them. Ahead lay a future of partnership, discovery, and hope. The human had proven that even in a galaxy of advanced civilizations, the qualities of creativity, courage, and determination could change everything. Lyran slept peacefully that night, dreaming of adventures yet to come. Ethan prepared for the next mission, already planning strategies and solutions for challenges no one else could imagine. And the Queen, watching over her city, knew one truth. Humanity was extraordinary, and together, humans and aliens could shape a galaxy unlike any before. The future was bright, full of hope and boundless in possibility. Humans had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same.